And you're listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. Broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall, streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, The Source Radio. As we're past the 8 o'clock hour, as our friends at Life South Community Blood Centers, we have Galen on the phone. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, good morning, Adam. How are you?
Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. A little chilly this morning again, but some sunshine coming up, and everything's even getting more green. And, boy, we got a nice forecast for the weekend here moving into, as today's Friday. We got ourselves looking at upper 80s, baby. Upper 80s for the weekend, which I know you like it when it's warmer, and this kind of warm I like, as it's cool. It works into a warm afternoon, and it's a little breeze blowing. Weather don't get no better than this.
Can't do anything with it, but yeah. Not, I mean, yesterday was a pretty terrible day. I don't know if you saw, but they delayed the release of Top Gun 2, which you laugh.
That's the beginning of the end.
Changed my world. So the first one, and I could take a lot. This may just be a bridge too far. Well, I guess they're assuming we're going to be around in December. It was going to be released on January 24th. I was going to go see Top Gun 2 with my boys for my birthday, and now
June.
June 24th is when it was going to be released, and now all that's gone. Mm-hmm. And the assumption is I think we're all going to be dead by December. According to some reports I've read, according to the chart that's about
the curve
to shoot up,
the curve and projections.
So what's the point? What's the point of living right now? There is no Top Gun 2.
I do got to agree with you. After watching that trailer, I was pleasantly surprised, and my expectations are strong, and I was excited to see it myself.
But it's more than that. It's all about what Maverick represents, and the fight against. I don't even know who he's fighting. It's not the point. Maverick isn't going to be out here for us. We don't have Goose isn't going to be talking to him. What's the point? We really need to reassess what's important in our society. I mean, without Top Gun 2, I don't know. Maybe I should take to the streets. Fine. I'll be in this house for as long as the government tells me to. At least give me Top Gun 2.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not looking to stream it or put it through the. I was thinking about this like when they released it. I'm like, I wonder if if they put it like on pay-per-view, right? Yeah.
How much would I pay for it? How big of an idiot am I? Money doesn't really mean anything anymore because nothing really to buy. So, would I pay like $59.99, like if we were at a Tyson fight or something? You know what I mean? I wonder what my threshold of pain would be to see Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Top Gun is a movie that I saw it in the summer of 1986.
Yeah.
So I had just I remember I had just gotten like my driver's license, and I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was a terrible student, and I'm like, man, I'm going to go in the military, and then I saw Platoon, which came out I think in like that winter. I don't know if it was December or January. I don't remember. I saw it. And I said, well, I'm definitely not going in the Army. Those people are crazy. And so that following June, I joined the Navy and enlisted in July of 1988. And I remember sitting in boot camp, and there was a guy who goes, man, this isn't anything like the movie Top Gun. I said, yeah, where are the jets? Even though, kind of in the back of your mind that, you're never going to be able to fly one of those things. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But, they made it so it was the greatest recruitment movie of all time.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure when they made it, I don't think that, because the Navy cooperated a great deal on that. and I've been to, where they filmed it, where Tom Cruise is riding on his bike alongside the airstrip.
Yeah.
And it's right outside San Diego. And, people, they had to build an extra fence so people wouldn't drive any closer. So, but I think it's one of the great movies of my life.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fantastic movie, and it still stands the test of time.
It still does. Still does.
Think about what Top Gun did for volleyball alone. Had you ever heard? How old were you in 1986? You're a young man.
Yeah, 1986.
You're probably like 10.
I was younger yet. I was 2.5.
Jeez, you're young.
I was as old as my boy is
have
now.
you even seen? I guess I should ask. Have you seen Top Gun?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the defining movies
you're a pilot.
Yeah, that's one of the defining movies that made me choose the direction of life I chose. I remember telling myself.
Now you're flying a little Cessna. A little bit about the same.
Yep. Now I was. I remember being specifically. I remember I was because my uncle was in the Navy, and he was stationed in San Diego for a while. And I remember when he had come back. It was about 2 years later. I went over there, and Top Gun was on, and we had watched it. And that was the first time I'd seen it. And then I'd stayed the night over there like a year later. And you got to understand too, there was a video game out that was called Afterburner, which you were flying a Navy jet around, shooting down the bad guys and bad guys' aircraft carriers. And I thought to myself, this is gold. I want to do this someday. And then it never came to that strong fruition. But I could tell you this, it was pretty ironic because you know as well as I do, when I moved from Florida to Pensacola, that's where all the Navy flight training takes place anyway. And what was pretty cool was having grown up with that expectation of Top Gun and knowing all that, as becoming a flight instructor in the mom and pop flight school I worked over there in Pensacola, we actually did the introductory screening of the Navy pilots to fly a Cessna before they moved on to their other training, which would eventually get them to a jet. And so, yeah, it's up there, buddy. If you're a pilot and you don't know at least half the script memorized for that movie, half the lines in the movie memorized, then you got some work left to do. That's for sure.
Well, it's there's the place where they at the ending where she comes back and they're playing on the jukebox, and it's in the movie quite a bit. It's called Kansas City Barbecue, and it's in San Diego. And when you walk in there, and I was there in '92, and it wasn't probably like it is now, because it wasn't. But there's signs that said, this is where Top Gun is. This is the jukebox used in Top Gun.
Nice.
And I remember, there was just a line of people, and just looking at it. So I'm sure now it's probably just as big.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty cool. It's right outside of San Diego. So, and of course Miramar Air Station. But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, like, when I told my son, this is what I want for my birthday, he's like, okay. I said, I don't think you understand what this did for movie history. Yeah. Every movie now has that, that moment where they overcome whatever demon they're battling and get back into the fight. When he's in there, I remember the first time I saw it, and Maverick's in there, and he's like, oh, it's no good. And he bails out, and he leaves his wingman, right? And I'm like, come on, Maverick, get in there. And we're all fighting for that crusty old officer with a cigar in his mouth who's 97 but only a lieutenant. He's had a rough life.
Yep.
That dude's got stories to tell. And it's an iconic movie, and I saw that yesterday, and I'm like, man, there's nothing to look forward to. There's absolutely nothing to look forward to. They've taken it all away. I mean, they've taken away the U.S. Open. They've taken away Wimbledon.
Yep.
Those things in the summer that you look for, baseball, the NBA playoffs. Yeah, everything that you look forward to in the summer is gone.
It's gone one by one. They've just taken it away. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of. I must have had the same speech like 9 times yesterday,
Because people are like, yeah, this is the best thing. I'm like, okay. I said, I guess you don't like your liberty. So I'm tired of having that speech. But then when and a buddy of mine texted me and he goes, Top Gun's dead. And I was like, okay. I remember I was at work and I said, I gotta walk this off.
Yeah.
I just went for a walk. I mean, it's just one of those things you can only take so much in a day.
That's right.
How much bad news can we possibly handle in one day?
That's right. Now, in lieu of that movie, like you said, and then thinking about maybe getting to the point where you fly a jet, I got to give a shout out to a kid that I went to grade school with, who actually lived that out, man. Ben Koveski. He stuck with the Boy Scouts. We finished 8th grade. He went to high school. And then the actual year that I moved to Pensacola, he was winged as a naval aviator. And as of 2 years ago, he finished his duty, his service. And he spent, was it 4.5 years flying F-18 Super Hornets. So he actually lived it out, man. He got to do it, and he was in Miramar for, I think, at least 2 years or something to that extent.
Sure.
And you know what's crazy? Here I thought he would take on the expectations of career, lifelong pilot, commercial pilot and all that. You know what he is? He's a real estate agent now.
Sure.
He had the need for speed, and then after he had it, he's like, you know what? I'm going to bring it down a notch. Let's sell some houses.
One of there's a couple of things, and I've talked about, I without the Navy, I don't know where I would have been, but the greatest decision I ever made, because without the Navy, I'm never able to, do anything. But there's a couple of things I did while I was in the Navy that, are just things I'll never forget. One of them is serving on the USS Midway for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just standing, feet away from these jets as they're launched and, from the signal bridge, and just feeling the sheer power. And I remember I was a third class. I had just become a third class, and I thought I was everything. And when you're 19, I may have been 20 by then, but you think I'm the smartest dude on the planet. And I remember standing next to this old crusty senior chief, and he goes, son, says, I don't care how long you live, this will never get old. And I
That's awesome.
Because he had seen it all, and
awesome.
he is absolutely right. It's a moment I'll never forget. And I served on a battleship New Jersey for 10 days, and I'll never forget that either. But being on the Midway and watching them just, and they were doing touch and goes, and so they just floor the afterburners, they just touch,
Yeah.
and the ship's going 18 knots, and you're like, man, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I put it up there with the birth of my children. I'm not even joking. I mean, it's that cool, and the fact that Maverick, Tom Cruise will always be Maverick to me.
Yeah.
Took that away from me is disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, buddy.
It is. I mean, I got nothing. What are we going to do now? What am I going to look forward to all April?
Yeah.
I mean, all April I figured was done, right? Not, I don't really want to talk about 6 million people who lost their jobs this week because of this stupid virus.
6 million.
I really wanted to talk about Maverick. It's gone. Yep. It's over.
It's gone.
All over. I don't know what there is to live for.
It's gone like Goose. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, but Goose at least is there in my heart.
That's right. That's right. And
I mean, Kelly is still there.
Yeah.
She's there, and she's lost that love and feeling. I don't know if she'll find it again. So
you never close your eyes
anymore. It's a great scene in the bar when they're like, she's lost that love. She's lost it.
Oh, no, she come on, Mav. No, God, I hate it when she does that.
Great. I mean, come on. It's a great movie. The Iceman's great in it. Val Kilmer was healthy and young and looked good in that movie.
Yes, Iceman.
Great movie. I wonder how many people in our audience haven't seen it.
No mistakes.
Yeah. No mistakes. Yeah.
Now,
and they talk about the deck is 4,000 feet. Like, dang, that's low. That is low.
Yeah.
That is low.
Now, I do gotta shout this out here, and this is not to undercut anything or everything. It's in its own right, and as much as I love Top Gun, I think one of the coolest things about Top Gun existing, as a person of comedy and the love for it, was the spoof film Hot Shots that came thereafter.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Underrated movie.
Underrated, great movie that was clever, and it was almost like an homage to Top Gun and what it was, having Charlie Sheen be Topper Harley to carry the same thing, but just on a whole different comedic level. Just awesome, and that's one of my favorites.
Val Kilmer was Val Kilmer in that one?
No, it was
in another one.
It was who was the Princess Bride? Who was that? That's the blonde guy from Princess Bride. He was in that with Charlie Sheen as that instigator. But yeah, that's was it Lloyd Bridges was the admiral? It's just good stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it was like an homage.
It's a good movie.
It's good stuff.
I have no problem with that. Val Kilmer was in another one that wasn't as funny. I can't remember what he was in.
Yeah.
He was in some kind of a movie like that, but it was like in World War II Nazis or something. Anyway.
Val Kilmer, like you said, that's back when he was healthy and he looked good. Yeah, he's put on some weight. He's getting old.
I mean, his best role is probably is Tombstone, where he's Doc Holliday.
Yep. It goes Doc Holliday.
Top Secret. That's what I'm thinking about.
Top Secret. Okay. For Val Kilmer, I think his best films, and like you said, Doc Holliday, Tombstone, and then obviously Iceman, and then the movie The Saint. Do you remember that one?
Sure.
Yeah. That ranks up there, and then. He was in it.
You're getting deep.
I'm getting deep.
You could tell at that point he's not very good.
Yeah.
He didn't do a lot. He was always that guy in the back. I mean, he did a pretty good job with The Doors, Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that one.
I would put that one up there ahead of that.
Put that up there.
But
yeah.
I think his best role, though, is by far and away is Tombstone.
Yep.
Now, he is in Maverick. He is in the new Maverick.
Is he?
He reprises his role as Iceman. Yeah.
Ooh.
There's a lot of people, and again, this is what because it's almost like an homage to it, and that's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah. Even the story idea was pretty cool behind it, because it's like, even in the trailer, it's like, what are you still doing, Maverick? And so something happened. All right, that's interesting. See, I didn't even know he was. I didn't know Val Kilmer was in that.
Yeah, he still is the Iceman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably watched the trailer, like 142 times. You know how the Star Wars fanatics will break down the Star Wars trailers and try to find all these Easter eggs.
The 2-minute trailer. Yeah.
I did that. You know I will tell you what's sad is that movie was released in 1986. The Navy is flying the exact same aircraft today.
Well, not the F-14, but the Tomcats they retired.
I guess it's the same. It's the same platform. There's not that big of a difference between the F-16 and the F-18.
Well, no, they were flying the F-14, the F-14 Tomcat.
Oh, they were. Okay, that's right. I was thinking they were
movable wings to go to Delta Wing to go supersonic.
That's right.
Yeah, because one of the cool things is they have one on display. Now in the new part of the wing at the Naval Museum in Pensacola. So they created a whole new wing that carried over from the end of the Korean conflict and then brought up the Iraq War and all that. And they've got one right there, right in the middle of that hangar. And that thing's awesome. That thing is, and then that's a precursor to what became of the F-18. They did it right after that. But what's incredible is that they're still flying the F-18, because it wasn't long after the F-14 Tomcat that then they were into the F-18, and they've been flying that for years. Of course, then the Air Force had the
that's what I saw was
F-22 or whatever.
F-18.
Now they're doing the F-35, which is the most expensive aircraft America's ever built.
and it's just it's not that great of a platform. Maybe it'll become, I don't know. It's, I'm not as close to it as I once was, but
Yeah.
I know it was a boondoggle for a long, long time. They were trying to make it everything.
Yeah.
And then they realized what the Navy needs is completely different than what the Army and the Air Force and the Marines need. So
Yep.
they're trying to make it a one platform for every application. It just doesn't work.
Now, when you mentioned stuff to look forward to, at one moment we would be in the weekend right now. I would be on air if things were in a normal state of the world here. We would be talking about Sun and Fun this weekend. We would be talking about the second largest air show in the country that comes to our state here in Florida, just
Sure.
hour and 45 minutes away down in Lakeland. And with that, this year was going to be for the Air Force, the Thunderbirds. The year before, they've had the Blue Angels in lieu of the Navy. And we just heard, like you said, as far as things to look forward to, they did have an expectation to suspend it and postpone it. And as of this week, they've canceled it altogether. So again, something else to that we don't have to look forward to.
You living in Pensacola, you saw the Blue Angels almost daily.
Yeah, because they gave the free show on Wednesdays. So anytime we had some friends or family come down, we always made it a point during the season to go down there, and it was a free show. And then at the end of every year, they would do the homecoming show. But you know what was the best, my friend? You know what was the absolute best?
That.
Second weekend in July, they would do the beach show.
Absolutely correct.
Oh, my goodness.
I've been to that. I have a buddy who lives in Pensacola, and he goes, well, if you're going to go fishing, you go fishing on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or you just get in the boat and you sit right there.
Yep.
Anywhere around Pensacola in the water.
Yep.
And he said it's an hour and a half. I mean, there'll probably be 50,000 boats, but it is phenomenal. And we've done both. We've been fishing on a Wednesday, and all of a sudden, a Blue Angel comes streaking past you, and you're like,
Yep.
It just moved.
And I'm going to tell you, my friend, like what you said when you were kind of reminiscing there, that's one of the coolest things you've ever seen. Do you have this feeling sometimes? I do, the withdrawal of not being able to hear that sound or feel it, like you said, when it goes by. I go through withdrawals for it. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, for me, it's, that part of the Navy was a very small part. I mean, whenever we would work with, the Midway, or, we followed around the Independence in the Persian Gulf for the war. But that wasn't the biggest part of me. For me, what I miss is just the sound of the ship in the night when it was going through the water. And for me, I reminisce about different things. So.
Awesome.
Because I lived on a boat for 4 years and didn't leave it very often, so it was So the Navy was a little different feeling for me.
Yeah.
I don't dream about having a jet buzz the tower. I sure as heck wanted to see Maverick do it one more time.
I want some butts.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't believe it got delayed. Yeah, it's disappointing.
Crazy.
All right, I went long.
Yep, you got it, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend, my friend. We'll be chatting with you on Monday.
All right, man. Be good.
You got
Later.
it. Got it. WOCA Ocala back after this.
Very active discussion within the task force.
America's listening to Fox News.
Okay, Marcus commercial, take one.
With a Marcus by Goldman Sachs no penalty